In February of 2024, I went to my urologist for some minor issues. Just getting older stuff, I thought. Doctor sent me to the local hospital to have sonogram done, check my urinary tract, see what was going on. During the sonogram, they accidentally found that I had a 6.8 aortic aneurysm directly below my renal separations of the main veins going to the kidneys. That's when I knew that I wasn't 10 feet tall and bulletproof like I'd always thought. There were no symptoms. I didn't feel bad. I felt pretty good. Living life. And then you start having the aging problems, and you just, they find an aortic aneurysm. I survived. I'm still here. There are many before me who did not. Lucille Ball died of an aortic aneurysm. John Ritter died of an aortic aneurysm. No symptoms. Life just ended. Luckily for me, this non-routine check was done, and they discovered the aneurysm. During the process, the sonogram was being performed by a young technician, and I thought everything was normal. We were having a back and forth discussion, and suddenly this young man's eyes got as big around as saucers. He stopped the examination, told me that he had to go talk to the radiologist, who was his supervisor, and he left the room. I looked at the screen, but if you're looking at the screen and you're not trained to be a medical professional, what do you see? I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything unusual. The technician comes back and he finishes the sonogram, and he tells me that he's going to have me talk to the radiologist after he finishes the exam. So I wait. Radiologist comes in. Radiologist discusses with me that they have already contacted a local cardiologist. I am being referred directly to the cardiologist for that day, and that they have found something serious, and that the cardiologist would tell me more about it. So 2 hours later, I go over to this cardiologist's office, and I sit down and we discuss what an aortic aneurysm is, and that we discuss what they found and what an aortic aneurysm is. This news was devastating to me. We lost my father back in 1991 to a heart attack. Massive heart attack. We believe my mother had a heart attack in the end. She had heart condition for years, and we dealt with that. we lost her as well. Not to, I don't particularly attribute it to a heart attack, just bad health with her, bad living. With me, my brother also has, my older brother also has a heart condition, to my understanding. But this isn't a heart. My heart is perfectly healthy, and every time I have ever been tested for anything with my heart, even having had nuclear stress tests done in the past, there's nothing wrong with my heart. They did a nuclear stress test when they discovered the aneurysm, and there's nothing wrong with my heart. It's the cardiovascular system. I have this large bubble that grew inside of me. It's what I refer to as the hole you left in me. And you'll see from the thumbnail exactly what I mean. So the cardiologist informs me that I have to have, well, he doesn't say you have to have. He said to me, Mr. Phillips, if you do not have the surgery, you're going to die. Then he says to me, Mr. Phillips, if you have this surgery, there's a 5% chance that you'll come off the table alive. 5%. If nothing goes wrong, there's a 5% chance you'll come off the table alive. Okay. At that point, I thought, well, there's, you have so many different thought processes when you get news like this, when you discover stuff like this. Your mind goes in a million different directions. So my wife, I contacted my wife. My wife and I talked about it. We talked about everything. Several visits to the cardiologist for mapping of my cardiovascular system, checking from with CAT scans, CT scans, checking with CT scans every inch of my body for other aneurysms, other possible aneurysms. They did not discover anything else. But my wife and I sat down with the cardiologist, and we went forward with the surgery. The surgery, with my health being, good, and my age, they decided they were going to do a repair procedure. So instead of doing open heart surgery, they went in through the groin and they did an EVAR. An EVAR is a grafting of a section of the aorta. So they take and put a prosthetic tube through your groin. And this went all the way up to my kidneys, and from the aorta where the renal arteries split off, down through the remaining body of the aorta, down into both legs where the aorta splits. It goes down to the lower half of the body. So I have a Y graft into both legs and up through my aorta, all the way up to the renal arteries going to the kidneys. During the surgery, they occluded the right kidney partially, which means they blocked off a part of the artery going to the right kidney, which will lead to further problems down the road. But, okay, I'm still alive. I'm here. That's the important part. So when we made all these decisions, the first thing I did is I called my boss, naturally. And I told my boss, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is what the doctors say. This is the prognosis. I'm going to have to use FMLA to be off work for, up to 12 weeks for recovery. If I recover, I don't know what's going to happen. So my boss was sympathetic. He was sympathetic. He showed the empathy that was required in the situation. And then he says to me, Well, you know, sometimes we have these thoughts where we're going to have to be out 12 weeks for surgery, but we only need to be out for 2 or 3. You know, this person that works for us just did that same thing. They had to have back surgery, and they were supposed to be out for 6 weeks, but they only stayed out for 3 weeks. This is when I knew that my health was more important than any job that I could possibly have. There was no the sympathy and empathy that he had shown up to that point disappeared. It hit me like a brick that this man that I had known for 8 years, I had worked for, I had loyalty and dedication beyond your norm. You know, I idolized this gentleman. Even though he was a younger man, I idolized him. He was wise. He was very intelligent. He was fair. But in that instant, I realized that this man only cared about what I could provide for him and his company, which was a profit. That's all it was. You know, I had then, at that moment, I had become a liability to him. And that's why I'm doing this series, talking out where my heart is, talking out where my mind is. Basically, I don't have anybody else to talk to other than my wife, and she's heard it 1,000 times. She agreed with me 100% of walking away. We had put in our time, we had used our energy, we had given life, limb, devotion to this company. I had worked nights, worked weekends, 10-hour days, 12-hour days, 16-hour days, nothing unusual. I would go into that plant sometimes at 5 o'clock in the morning and not leave until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. In some of the last discussions I had with this same boss before I walked away, the wording was made to me. He had given me autonomy to run the plant as I saw fit to make a profit. And that's what I did. I ran the plant without going to him about major decisions. I delegated responsibility down to my employees, the ones that I trusted. In the end, I find that I shouldn't have trusted those people. Now that, you know, I'm hearing things from other sources, and I find that those employees that I trusted are now throwing me away, which is fine. I don't care. That was the point of me leaving, was to open up and free up opportunities for people below me to move upwards. Because in our situation, there was no way that other people were ever going to be more than what I had already assigned them to be in that plant. I told my administrative assistant the day that I left, I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing this for this person, and in a way I'm doing it for this other person too. So there were 3 people that I really trusted in that organization, and I'm being told that those 3 people are the ones who ultimately went against me in the end. But this is more about my health. This video is more about my health. and why I walked away. So that's the tell of how this happened. Now, after the aneurysm and after the repair, and 2 years, almost 2 years later now, I'm still alive. I'm still here. I have to go every 6 months and have another sonogram or CT scan, EKGs done on my vascular system to make sure, to check and see if the graft is leaking. If it's leaking, it can kill me. If it begins leaking, it can kill me. If it dislodges, if the graft dislodges, it can kill me. If blood finds a way to divert around the graft back into the aneurysm again, it can kill me. So every day is a guessing game for me. I don't know from one day to the next whether am I going to wake up. I don't know. Am I going to walk out in the yard to perform a task, go to pick up something off the ground, and just balloon inside of me pop? I don't know. It could happen. Happened to John Ritter. John Ritter died on the set. No warning. He didn't know about his, which I guess in a way that could have been better if you didn't know. So now I face this diabetes. Went to the doctor just for regular checkup, and you know, my doctor retired, and I got a new physician in that was going to take her place, and I go in, and the first thing that this young lady wants to do is check my blood sugar and my A1C, which was fine. So just another blood test, right? Just another blood test. You think you're feeling healthy, you think you're doing good, you think all's wonderful. You know, all I have to worry about is this aneurysm every day, whether it's going to kill me. Take 9 medicines a day for the aneurysm, by the way. 9 medications a day. So I get this, I do this blood test, A1C and blood sugar content. And 2 days later, I get this phone call from the doctor, from the doctor's nurse. Mr. Phillips, you have diabetes. We need you to come in and let's talk to you about that. There was no Mr. Phillips. We found something on your blood test you need. We would like to, we would like you to come in and talk to you about it. No, it was a straight out, Mr. Phillips, you have diabetes. Your A1C is 7.9. Wow. Okay. So 2 days later, I go to the appointment and I sit down with the doctor and I tell the doctor, look, I face death every day. I take 9 medications a day. I'm not getting on another medication. I'm not doing another medication. So I came home and I researched, and I found that most cases of diabetes can be treated with the proper diet, eating healthy, lean meats, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, and intaking water. That's what I did. I just changed my diet, started exercising, walking 10,000 steps a day. 3 months later, I went back to the doctor again, and guess what? I got a new doctor. this young lady that replaced my old doctor is no longer there. Now I have a new doctor. They take my blood, my blood. They run their A1C test, and they find that my A1C is 5.4. This doctor, older gentleman, very much older than me, white-haired, looks at me and says, Mr. Phillips, you're amazing. You're amazing. I've never seen anything like it. I wish every patient I have with diabetes would do exactly what you've done and listen to what we tell them. Well, Doc, you didn't tell me anything. The other doctor didn't tell me anything. Only thing that y'all said was get on this medication, and I refused to do it. I'm the one who made the change. That is what it is. I made the changes, and I did what needed to be done. You can do it too. But this is why. These reasons is why I chose health over my career. Your health is more important than anything that you do. If you don't have your health, you can't do the things that you do. You can't. If you don't have your health, and if your job is causing you to have health problems, you need to find a way away from it. This is why, part of the reason why I retired at 55. And I walked away from corporate America. I'd like to thank you for watching today. I hope this helps you to understand a little bit more about me. If you like this content, please go over to the channel and subscribe. Click on that notification bell. Like this video and share it. Share it to anybody in your life that may be having health problems so that they can have hope. This is the story of a survivor. Your loved one can survive too. Thank you for watching.